to another episode of PDR Tool Time. Today's episode is number 210. Man, it's been 10 since we did our 200th anniversary. Oh yeah, I wasn't on that one. I forgot about that. Well, today I'm alongside Vince and Mr. Daniel, who's, I think he might have spaced off. Did he pass out over there? He's been on this cold kick for like 2 weeks.
Yes.
We don't even know what's going to happen.
Oh man, I can't kick it.
No,
Tagging on like the Corona.
The whole NyQuil thing is just kicking your butt, huh? You go into zombie mode.
Oh man, no, it's been a little rough cold, man, because it's all in my chest and coughing, and I feel fine.
Yeah,
but just coughing like a.
Well, it's going around because Hudson's out too. He's like, man, I wish I could be on the podcast tonight, but
he didn't sound very good.
No, it's hard to do a podcast when you're coughing up a lung every 2 seconds.
Yep.
Makes my job harder editing all this stuff. So
that's right. So how was you guys' week of work?
It was good. I've been to Boston. I had the tech meetup out at John Scotto's place at RPM, and it was a great crowd, and plenty of tools and fun was had.
Nice. Did you have a good show for the IMI class?
Yes, we had quite a few guys. I think just under 10. I think we had 9 guys, which isn't bad for a tech meetup.
How many guys total were at the meetup?
Oh, geez, it's hard to say.
Was it a good turnout? I mean,
yeah, it was a great turnout. Yeah, and Christina from Anson sent tools up there for us to sell and for guys to purchase, and they all loved them as well. They couldn't get the van up there because the van it would take 3 days to go from Dallas to Boston. And, if it was hail season, he would have a purpose, but there's really nothing going on. And 3 days trying to get to Boston, it was just too much for Chris. So he couldn't do it.
Yeah. I kind of wondered if that was going to happen because, man, that's a long haul.
Yeah.
I've done it from DC to Dallas.
Yeah. That's a long haul.
And it's a long haul. So,
well, the good thing is he made it to Nashville. I haven't talked to him, and they were wondering if it was going to go on the tech meetup in Nashville because of the tornado that just went through last week. So I think I'll talk to him in a few days, but I'm sure everything is fine and well over there, and they probably had just a equally as good time in Nashville than we did in Boston.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Daniel, how was your week? I mean, you just stayed home and beat on cars like a good little dent guy.
Yeah, well, I've been, just trying to muscle through everything, but it's slowed down a little bit because tax season, and I don't know if the coronavirus is really affecting anything, but tax season usually does slow down this time of year.
Yeah.
So it's manageable, which was perfect for being sick and everything. So actually pretty easy. I had one day I had a $1,900 day, and it was probably the easiest $1,900 I made all year.
Yeah.
I mean, it was all gravy the whole day. I was like, God, why can't every day be like this?
But
every day it was like that, I would be very, very happy.
Daniel, not only is it tax season, but it was Super Tuesday, election year.
Too.
That always affects, I don't know about the rest of the country, but California was obviously voting in this primary, and things slowed down. It was like a light switch, man. We were slam busy, going crazy. Probably had the best February ever.
You noticed it too, then?
Yeah, I mean, it was like, here comes March. We're like running into March. All of a sudden, hit the brakes, and it was like, holy cow! But that's all right.
Now, see, I've been just cooked. So, for those of you guys listening, by the time this releases, our last update will have been out for Apple and Android, and that include the large detail release, as along with a few other minor bug fixes.
For Mobile Tech RX.
Yep, for the MTRX app. So
congratulations,
that's updated.
By the way.
Thanks. Detailing's going crazy. I mean, we've had in 2 days of the new. We're recording this tonight, so it's been out for 2 days. We've had over 400 new users signed up already, and it's going to keep growing at that 200 a day for a few days. So
that's awesome, man.
Well, that's great because you guys work hard at that app, and it's a wonderful app, and we all use it. And I don't even know how to run a business without it now. That's how ingrained it is in our spirit and what we do at our shop. It's obviously made us more money and more money and more efficient and everything.
Yeah. I tell you, I talked with probably 25 detailers this last couple of days, and they're all blown away at what the Dent World's had, and they love what the Dent World's had for software, and the fact that we managed to build something that speaks in the language of the people that use it. And
it'll be interesting to see if they get the same results that we have. It's one of those things that I hope that does transfer over to them.
Yeah. I think it will. I really do.
And that's what we're really curious about too, because we built a custom matrix for detailers that's very similar to the President matrix. And we're looking to see if we can make that kind of a drastic change within that industry as well.
Yeah, because it's so important, I have a detailer in my shop, so I've seen him and I've been, coaching him to move over from hey, this is your package and it's one price for your package. Well, that car could be a total disaster and they're not getting paid more money because it's a total disaster. That's not fair to their workers,
Right.
We have cars that people freaking look like they lived in it.
Yeah.
And it's got mold inside of it.
Spilled a gallon of milk in the trunk.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, it's so bad sometimes. And it's like they need to get paid for what they're freaking doing half the time.
Yeah. As Dent guys, we're pretty lucky. We only have to touch the outside and we're like, oh, thank God I don't have to get in that car. But the detailer's got to be buried into that thing.
Well, come on. We've all gotten in that car where we get out and we're like, oh my God, I'm still sticking through the seat. Yeah. My hands, I got to go wash my hands now.
Yes.
Yeah. Out here in California, half the time, it smells like pot.
Yeah. You're not complaining about that though, Daniel. You're getting a little contact high along the way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Not when I'm working, man. I'm like, I want anything.
That's when you have to get out there and you got to order you some CBD oil from cbddirectoils.com.
No, I just rub my hands on the steering wheel.
Got their own CBD.
Yeah. I'm getting my free CBD today.
All right.
it's oozing off the shifter.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of gross. So we actually do have a topic today for our podcast.
Oh, do we? What is that?
Yeah. Well, the topic, I wanted to bring this gentleman on. We met him. I met him for the first time at MTE Orlando, and his name's Chad, and Chad is one of the representatives from Autel Scanners. And as we get into more technological advanced cars and needing to do pre and pro scans, Anson has taken it upon themselves to become a distributor for Autel. So Chad is the direct gentleman that we deal with over at Autel when it has to do with questions, concerns, and ordering and stuff like that. So I'd like to welcome Mr. Chad. How are you?
Wonderful. Thanks, guys. And you can give me a big title. You can call me National Sales Manager. It makes me feel more special.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. And I probably should have asked you that before actually getting you on the air. So you're the National Sales Manager. Correct.
My territory is North America. I take care of all the U.S. and Canada and Puerto Rico.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome.
Manny will be happy.
Manny. Oh, yeah. Manny's in Puerto Rico. We do have a couple listeners in Puerto Rico.
Yeah. The people in Puerto Rico are never happy. What are you talking about? No, I love those guys. We have a great distribution down there, and Anson is on top of that, getting products down to those guys. It's going to be an awesome time. Yeah.
Now, this is kind of new to our industry, and when people start talking about technology, when you're dealing with a hands-on type of repair, what we do, paintless dent removal, we don't have electronics, we don't have scopes and meters and stuff like that to do what we do. Now we're introducing training with electric vehicle training and certification. Now we got the scanners, and we know a little bit about scanners because, some of the body shops we go to, they do pre and post scans, or we hear them talking about it, but we don't know the purpose of why you want to do a pre and post scan. Can you start off with that? Why would we want to do something like that?
Well, talking with a lot of the technicians at MTE, knowing what you're getting into before you even touch the car. So we know as technicians and as dent removal, if you touched it last, it's your fault.
Right.
So this gives us the ability to go in and scan that car before we even touch it, before we take any panels off, and know what we're getting into. We can print that report off, show it to a customer and say, hey, before I even touch this car, I want to let you know that you have issues beyond what I have done. I need you to sign off on this to make sure that you know that I'm not responsible for these issues.
Yeah.
And it gives us a little bit of a CYA whenever we're going in before we touch a car. So that gives us the ability to pre-scan that car, know what we're getting into, and know if we need to back out before we even start working on it.
Yeah.
Guys, I know a lot of you are wondering, well, what good does a pre-scan do? So I've got my 2 scanners, and the first thing I did to try to learn them is I went outside to my 2017 Jeep Grand Cherokee that I just fixed the hail on twice. And I'm like, well, I'll scan this puppy up. Let's see what happens. I pulled 4 codes out of it.
Yeah.
4 codes. That means if I pull in a customer car and I pull those same 4 codes, then I didn't cause that incident. That's why you want to do these pre-scans. You need to know if something's functional or non-functional and whether you're liable for what's non-functional.
I mean, can we all admit that we've had that story where we've worked on the car and then the customer comes back and says, hey, my window won't roll down. Which window? Right, left, or right rear? I worked on the left rear, not the right rear. What do you mean? Well, it worked before. Now it doesn't. It's your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all had that. And I know even for myself, I had a car in the other day and it was an insurance job, but we had to change out the windshield, which had the heads up display on it for the miles per hour. And which, they had to change out the windshield. I had to change out the headlight, which was a Xenon. Xenon. Yeah, the Xenon. Yeah. So we had to take that off. We had to take the bumper off. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do an experiment. I did a pre-scan. I did a middle scan to see what happened when I pulled those things off, like the windshield and the headlight. And it threw an additional 2 codes. It had 4 codes to begin with when it came in. An additional 2 once I pulled the headlight and we replaced the windshield. And then I scanned it afterwards to see what happened. And fortunately, the 2 that we caused, they went away. But I wouldn't have known that had I not done a post scan at the end. So there you go. Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead.
And there's a common misconception that if there's a code that there's going to be a light on, and that is not always the case. We can have a vehicle with no check engine light, no ABS lights, no airbag lights on, and we scan it and they're still going to have codes. So even if a light's not on, it's still a good idea to go in and pre-scan that vehicle.
Yeah. Yeah. So why, Daniel, you don't have a scanner yet. I know the capabilities of it, well, to a certain degree, because I'm not a mechanic. I'm not a mechanic at all. John's not a mechanic. Chad, you're a mechanic. I'm sure you're ASC certified and have all the certifications that you need as a mechanic. We're not really coming from that realm. So, like Daniel's the one that doesn't have one right now. Why? Daniel, ask some questions.
Well, I've been kind of sitting back waiting to see, letting everything settled out first, because you have a couple different models. Which model do I need? That's my first question. And there's the 906 and the 808. So what are the 2 differences? Those are the main ones that Anson is carrying, correct?
Yes, that's absolutely right. So the MX 808 and the MS, or Michael Sam 906, and that one is Bluetooth, so it has a BT on the end.
Okay.
So my first question is always, what kind of work do you do, and to what extent do you usually do it? If you're pulling doors off, if you're pulling headliners out, if you're pulling windshields out, that's going to put you into a different category. If you're only doing detail work, then maybe you just need something a little on the less expensive side. So let's go through the differences in the tools. So the MX808 is going to be a smaller tablet. It's going to give us the ability to scan the vehicle and read and clear codes in all modules. We're going to be able to see live data, but no bidirectional controls, no active tests, no special functions. So this is going to be the perfect tool if we just want to pre-scan, post-scan, and clear codes. This is for the guy that may be removing door panels, but not removing a door. Maybe dropping the headliner down, but not disconnecting anything. It's going to give us the ability to clear those codes that we have created in the process of removing the dents. So that's going to be the least expensive option. It's a perfect entry-level tool, gives us the ability to do the pre-scan and post-scan reports and print and update wirelessly.
Yeah.
And I will add on this 808, that is dead nuts simple, and the learning curve is flat. There is not a steep learning curve to use this 808.
It literally is a turn on and 4 button pushes, and you have a pre-scan or post-scan. It's a very simple, intuitive tool, and the tool really walks you through the process. So it makes it, it takes the intimidation factor out of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sure.
that one's probably better for me then.
Well, and for the guys that actually do work, instead of just sitting at home nursing their cold, we do have the MS906BT. So the MS906BT is a full-fledged 100% diagnostic scan tool. It has all the same features as the MX808, but it adds bidirectional controls. And what bidirectional control is pretty much anything the computer can control on a car, I can control with the scan tool.
Yes.
And this is going to fit into the guys that are taking doors off, or unplugging motors, or unplugging modules. And the reason that this is key is because on a lot of these newer vehicles, if we unplug the door motor, or if we take a door off, now that window regulator will not work anymore. We have to actually reset or relearn that module, or reset the memory on that module. So the window knows when to stop going up and when to stop going down.
Right.
And the MS906BT will give us that functionality. I've heard at the MTE event, I heard a lot of horror stories about guys that were working on vehicles, and after they got done working on it, the rear hatch doesn't work anymore. The windows don't go up and down. They had to send it back to the dealership. Yeah. So they got paid $250 for the job, and they had a $1,200 bill from the dealer after it was all done.
Yeah, yeah.
So depending on the extent that you're going to do on that vehicle, it really puts you in a different tool. But we wanted to give everyone the ability to get into that right price point tool for the features and functions that they need.
Yeah. And you know
what is a price point for both these?
So the MX808 is going to run less than $550. And the MS906BT, you're less than $2,000. That one actually is at $1,895.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, even on the most expensive one trip to the dealer that you didn't have to do is going to pay for the tool.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's been so many countless things in our boards about people talking about, removing a lift gate on a 4Runner or something. And next thing you know, the windows don't go up and down on the gate, the lift gate, and all sorts of stuff. It's very common. And then you get the peanut gallery, which I've been part of that peanut gallery for years. Oh, well, did you unplug the battery for, 15 minutes? And did you, touch some people touch the two wires together, the positive and the negative, reset everything. And we have all these like quirky, weird ways of trying to fix it. But really it's like you're causing faults in the diagnostics of the car. If the window doesn't go up, you have a fault why the window is not going up and down. And having these scanners, you're not only going to be able to identify it with the 906, but you're going to be able to reset it. And my question to you, Chad, is resetting these things, do you have to be a mechanic for some of these modules?
I mean, you have to have a little bit of mechanical background. You have to understand how a vehicle works. But the way these tools are designed and how intuitive they are, you can just push buttons until you figure out where you're going.
Yeah.
It's not as difficult as trying to rebuild an engine. For instance, if we had to remove a door and now that window doesn't work anymore, we can go into that door module and there's a button that says active tests or special functions. We click on active test. If we can move that window up and down, we know that there's a different issue. we can go into special functions and it'll say window memory relearn. So it's a very intuitive and simple process when it comes to that.
Well, that's good because my Toyota Highlander liftgate is broke. And I just realized you mentioned another step that I did not take. I was able to control my liftgate from my 906 BT, and I'm making it go up and down and do all this stuff. I'm like, okay, so it's not broken that aspect. There's something else that's not. When I press the button for the gate to open, it just beeps and then closes again. So there's something else mechanical that's going on with it. So I just need to dig a little bit deeper into what the Autel is telling me.
Yep, absolutely. And going back to one of the points you made, the old school thought process was disconnect the battery and it will reset all my codes. I don't have that issue anymore. Well, on newer vehicles, if you disconnect the battery, every module now sets a code saying that it lost communication or lost power. So now you set 40 different codes.
Right.
And when you're trying to erase that one code that you've already made.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Let me ask you this. So I had a situation last week. Customer came in. I was fixing a quarter panel. The rear tail light was broken. I told her, if you get the new one, I've got to take the tail light out anyway. I'll just switch it out for you. So that's what I did. And she drove away. I made the mistake of not checking it to see that it works, thinking it's brand new, got to work, right? Drives away. She calls, hey, my tail light's not working. She comes back and I check it, and I ended up switching out her bulb, and it was the bulb. Well, not the bulb, but the whole module. It unplugs the bulb and the
like the whole piece behind it that the bulb connects to. Yeah.
So, is there a way to use that as a diagnostic tool?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, you brought up a good point of removing taillights, because when we're taking dents out of a bedside, you're removing taillights, you're moving headlights, and those are now considered modules on a car. And if you unplug that, the computer sees, hey, I've lost communication with this module, and it will not turn back on until you tell it, hey, everything's good, and clear that code out. So yes, we can use the tool to activate the tail light if we want to. We can tell it, hey, turn signal, turn on, and watch it blink.
Yeah.
Or we can use it to say, oh, look, I did set a code. It's saying that it lost communication with this module. Clear that code out, and now we're back up and running again.
Yeah. No,
and that's with the 906, correct?
Well, so when it comes to just clearing codes, a lot of times when a code is set, it's as simple as clearing that code. And that can be done with an MX808 or the 906.
Yeah.
If it's a memory relearn, something that moves needs a memory relearn, like a window motor, that would require the MS906BT to be able to do that relearn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's kind of why I wanted to sort of make that distinction a little bit between the 808 and the 906 in those regards, and make sure that, we kind of explain those differences a little bit, because there is a lot of, I'll say it, a fear factor. I mean, it's intimidating when we go from whacking cars with a hammer to now we're plugging in, we're doing diagnostics. We're kind of entering a new territory here. And that's part of the reason why I wanted to bring up that 808 being so simple for just straight up code clearing. Is that's the first one I plugged into my vehicles, and I was like, oh, I got this. I'm the master. I'm so intuitive on this. And then I plugged in my 906 BT, and I plugged that into my 05 Grand Cherokee, and I was like, oh my God, I can reset the engine timing with this thing.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, I'm opening my sunroof and I'm doing all this oddball stuff. And I was like, wow. And that thing had a ton of codes, because I can't even tell you how many times that's been worked on throughout the country. But it was crazy. It troubleshot me a lot of stuff. And actually, I'm ordering parts now just simply because of scans I've done on my own personal vehicles.
And I can guarantee you a way that you will pull your hair out and hate me and say how hard this tool is to work. And that is, only use it on broken cars. So if you buy this tool and the first time you pull it out of the box is when crap just hit the fan, you're going to be freaking out. So
I agree.
Doing exactly what you did, John, taking it out, playing with it on your own vehicle, on a car that works, where you can push buttons and not hurt anything. and where somebody's not looking over your shoulder trying to figure out what you're doing, that is the best time to learn. Just go out for a couple hours. I like to tell people, get your tool out and play with it.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. Like yesterday, and maybe this is not ethically right or not, I don't know, but I did it anyways, only to see if I could do it. I had a very good customer of mine, and I'd consider him a friend. He was turning back his BMW M3, and he didn't tell me at the time what the service cost, but he had an oil light on and brake fluid. So brake fluid and oil needed to be changed. And he's like, hey, can you reset these? I'm like, I believe I can. So so he brought it in. I plugged in. I used the 906 BT because it's bigger, and I just like playing with it a little bit more. I play with that tool a little bit more. And I plug it in, and I went in and did everything. And next thing you know, I see it come up, and I'm like, okay, oil life is 0. Brake fluid is 0. I see that brake pads are at 82%, so I don't want to mess with that. So it's telling me everything, brake pads. How the hell does it know that it's at 82% on brake pads? And there's a couple other things in there that they told me not to touch, which kind of warned me. And I just went in there, and like within 3 minutes, I had his whole thing reset. And I go, here you go, John. And I go, by the way, what was the dealership charging you for that? He's like, $700. I'm like, you son of a bitch. I charged him like a pre and post $135. And he's like, I'm going right to the dealership now to turn it back on the lease.
Yeah. Well, Chad, going back to a point you made about pulling a taillight, I don't know if most of you guys know this, but if you pull one of the new LED taillights on a Chevy truck, it blows like 6 codes just for that one taillight. And I think Ford is very similar when they've got the sonars.
Yeah, they got the sonar on the Raptors and even the F-150s. They have the sonar on the rear taillights now. Is that something that the 808 could handle when you're dealing with ADAS?
As far as reading the ADAS systems, yes, absolutely. So it can see all the different systems that have ADAS in them, and it can read and clear codes and still see the live data on it.
Okay.
Now, it won't be able to do the recalibration or the relearn on ADAS systems.
Right.
But it can get you to a point where you can say, hey, Mr. Customer, this is what we've done. We know that you have an issue in this system and you have to take it in to get it calibrated. So we can at least point the customer in the right direction, even before we do the complete job. So we know, hey, I got to take that taillight out. We know that one has ADAS in it. Hey, Mr. Customer, just so you know, you're going to have to get this calibrated after I'm done. Do you understand? Yes. Sign here, stating that you understand and I'm not liable.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the big thing nowadays, and that's the main reason why I got the scanners is the liability aspect. That, and obviously we make money off of it. We're leaving money on the table when we're dealing with insurance companies. Not one has said you do not need to do a pre and post scan. If I have to take a taillight out, hey, Mr. Insurance Man Adjuster, I need to do a pre and post scan. Never has they said no, you don't. They pay me. They pay me an hour mechanical.
Yeah, anything that plugs in, you're pretty much going to guarantee you can set off a code in a modern car. Yeah. So if it has a plug on it, you're most likely going to set it off.
And it's one of those things too, John. We don't even think about it because, like, say you have to take a belt molding off of the top of the door. You take a belt molding off. Sometimes you have to take that mirror off. That mirror might have a sonar or a camera on it, and now you need to recalibrate it or at least clear the code on it.
Yep. You need to clear the code and make sure that mirror is functional and that camera is functional. Yeah. So, well, let's dive into them just a little bit more, if you could, Chad. I know you and I talked a little bit. Let's talk about, all right, I've scanned the car. What do I do? How I have it. It shows me everything is all cleared. What do I do from there?
Right. Absolutely. So we've scanned a car, and once we've scanned all modules, there's a button out the bottom that says report. And what that does is it takes all of the information of the car, year, make, model, VIN, time of scan, and all the modules. And it gives a clear and concise report, whether there are codes and whether there are not codes. So that report is really your go-to. So we can take that report and we can email that to ourselves. We can do wirelessly printing to a PC, and we can take that report, show it to a customer, and show everything is good before we started, or everything is not good before we start, and then everything is good after we're done.
Yeah.
And that's what it's really about, is giving the customer their car back in the same condition, diagnostics wise, as we received it, hopefully with a lot less dents in it.
Now, let me ask you this, Chad. Would you want to clear all the codes or just the ones that you create?
I highly recommend just clearing the codes that you create.
Right. Okay.
If you start just going in willy-nilly and clearing codes for everything, then you could cause issues for the next guy that needs to actually fix the car or see that information.
Right.
From a mechanic's standpoint, I don't want anybody to clear anything out before it gets to me, because I need to see that, especially if it's an intermittent problem.
Yeah.
So I would not even tell the customer that that's an option for you to clear all the codes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's a good
so
point.
Now to clear those codes though, and not clear all, you're just selecting each of the lines. I mean, the codes come up in individual lines for the module that's failed. So do you just tap on each one of those lines one at a time?
Yeah. So the way you're describing it is correct. So think of it as 40 different computers that are all connected together on one network. And as it scans, it talks to every one of those computers individually and independently. I can go into each one of those individual modules or computers and clear the codes out of each individual one. So if there are check engine light codes for the engine module, I don't want to go in and clear those. But if there are codes for the window lift motor module, and I did that, I can go in and clear just those codes out.
Yeah, verify that it works. Now, would you recommend actually printing out, or at least giving a copy of the remaining codes to the owner of the car and say, hey, you got these, you need to take it to a dealer and get this corrected?
Or
I recommend doing that before you work on the car. Absolutely. Okay. So print that out, hand it to a customer. And actually, I would rather have them sign saying, hey, I understand that these are here. Because it's a whole bunch of, just cover yourself to make sure that they're not going to come back on you in a you were the last one that touched it kind of scenario.
Yeah. And realistically, that's not always, if it doesn't always happen like that. Because if we're at a body shop or a car drops off, a customer drops off the car, it might be sitting there for 2 to 3 days before the insurance shows up to do an estimate on it and things like that. Sometimes even longer when it's hail damage. That might be sitting in the lot just backed up with 100 other cars. But definitely there's a timestamp on it. It'll show when it did happen, when you did scan the car. So.
Absolutely. It'll put a timestamp on there, date, time, and the VIN number, which is really important to the insurance companies to prove that, hey, this is the exact same car that I'm filing the claim on. It'll make everything fall together.
And the 906, you could take pictures of the car.
Absolutely. It does have a camera on it.
Yeah.
And you can build a pre-scan, post-scan report for the before and for the after.
Yeah.
And on both tools, the MX808 and the 906BT, you can put your business information. You can put your logo, your title, your slogan on there. That way, whenever you hand it to a customer, it gives them that professional vibe, that professional feeling. And if you did charge them for that, it justifies why you charged them for it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. You go into the back office, I think it is, on the scan, the company. I forgot my scanner.
Manager.
Shop manager, yeah. And you go into shop manager and you create all that stuff, and it looks like a professional printout, just like Mobile Tech RX. Now, this is one of the questions that a lot of guys ask me is, why can you put Mobile Tech RX? Seeing that it's a tablet and it's a Windows-based tablet, can you put Mobile Tech RX on the Autel? And John, why don't you tell us why we can't in a nice way?
No. And the number one reason for that is the Autel scanners are using an older version of the Android operating system, since how it doesn't need to be the newest operating system. They've got a very clean version of the Android operating system that avoids all the problems of the constant updates. And so if you try to run Mobile Tech RX on an older version of the Android operating system, you're just asking for problems. Yeah. I mean, you just really are. And you're risking both devices, ultimately, your Mobile Tech RX account and your Autel tablet. So I do not recommend putting Mobile Tech RX on your Autel tablet. Keep it on your phone. Keep that tablet for your scan purposes. Yeah. In fact, I'm worried. It's not a toy. this is a pretty serious tool. So for me, I take it extremely serious. I baby it. I wash the screen. I put it away. I polish it. I mean, I take what this thing can do very seriously.
Do you have anything to add to that, Chad?
Yeah, and people ask us that all the time. Well, can I add this app? Can I add that app to it? And we highly recommend you don't, because we don't know how that app is going to interfere with the scan tool. For instance, on a lot of the newer Android versions, it says specifically in there, hey, I'm going to take over your Bluetooth connection. Well, that causes an issue if you're on the 906 BT, because that's how you communicate with a car.
Yeah.
So if you have apps trying to take over and, take over that Bluetooth connection, now all of a sudden we have a connection issue. Our tech support team, 90% of the fixes that people call in on is because people have loaded so much junk on their tablet, been to websites they're not supposed to be on, and we have to reflash that whole tablet to be able to get it back to a function.
You hear that, Vince? No surfing the non-e sites.
What was the one you were on, Chatterbait or something? What was it?
No surfing those. No non-e sites.
No Pornhub. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. I'm really glad that you drove that point home, Chad, because the first time I had somebody call me about that, dude, I loaded it on my scan. I'm like, don't. You're risking two very important tools, and it's just not worth the risk, in my opinion.
Well, 3 out of the 4 of us on this podcast have kids, and I know I had to teach my kids, and it is the difference between a tool and a toy. That is not that hammer is not a toy. Those scissors are not a toy. That's a tool. It's made for a purpose, and you use it and you put it away and you take care of it. That's what these scanners are. They are not toys. I have nothing on it, just like you, John. I use it purely for scanning, and that's about it. There was another question that comes up quite a bit, and that is with the warranties and why you want to buy it from an American company, or, Anson's gone through all the trouble to bring it to our industry. So I would support Anson. So
yeah, absolutely. So think about Autel. We are a global company. We have offices in Australia, Asia, North America, South America, and all through Europe. And each tool is specific for its own market. If we look at an example I use is they don't sell a Dodge Ram 3500 with a Cummins in China,
right?
Because they would take up the whole road.
Yeah.
So the tools from Asia don't have the same software on them as the tools in the U.S. do. Right. But also, since we're a global company, the support and the warranty that you get with that tool comes from the country that it was purchased from.
Right.
So all too often, I see guys going, "Oh, look, I'm going to save $100, and I'm going to buy it from this ding dong website that I've never heard of before, but I'm saving $100."
Yeah.
And that's all great until you have to send your tool in for warranty, and it has to go back to Asia, and it takes a month to come back. And oh, by the way, customs says you don't have all the paperwork right, so customs keeps your tool.
Right.
And I've seen it too many times. The tools that Anson buys, they buy direct from Autel US. Our support comes from all of our people in New York. We're on Long Island. All of our warranty and repair is done on Long Island in New York. So the guys are going to have weird accents, but by golly, we'll fix the tool and get it right back to you.
Yeah.
And that was something, because I've been looking at scanners for a while now, and Autel was kind of the top in my list. And man, you just search it online, and you don't know who's gray market and who was US. And I did enough studying on that to know that, man, you get burned hard if you end up with a gray market tool, and a lot of companies have. And when Craig finally called me and he said, "Hey, I'm looking at Anson and doing the scanners," I was like, "Oh boy." I'm like, "Here we go. Have I got a company for you?" Because I just spent some time at the SICA conference talking with Autel, and I'm like, "I'm going to put you in touch with this guy, and he's going to put you in touch with all the right people." And then it really just worked out with Autel, and I was able to get my scanners from Anson. So I know that my scanners have all the support and backup that I'll ever need.
And that's a huge point to it also is, Autel does provide tech support, but in this industry, it's a different kind of tech support, right? So Anson has people that can answer a lot of those specific questions. And they get an issue of, hey, my door window doesn't go up anymore. You have the opportunity to contact Anson, and they go, hey, you know what? I just had a guy that had that same issue. Here's your solution. So you get another level of support, another level of coverage when you buy through Anson.
Yeah, absolutely. And man, awesome group of people. I mean, a family-run business. So, I mean, you really can't beat them.
So I have one question. Hopefully you didn't ask this one. So Autel compared to the mobile trucks, Snap-on, Mac, Matco, how does it match up to those?
So everyone is going to have different lines of tools. Everybody's going to have an entry-level tool all the way up to a professional level tool. When it comes to functionality, no tool is going to be able to do everything. Here's where Autel stands apart in the industry, is whenever you buy a tool, you get 12 months of updates and 12 months of warranty with that tool. And as far as the updates go, we do updates about every 2 weeks. You don't need me, you don't need some stupid guy in a truck to do your update. You push the green update button and it downloads it Wi-Fi. After your updates expire, whenever you go back to Anson, you purchase another year of updates. That gives you another 12 months of updates and another 12 months of warranty. So as long as your tool is under update contract, that means it's also under warranty, and nobody else can claim that.
Right. No. And you don't, the other thing I found out about Autel is, say you wait like a year or maybe 2 years to do an update. What happens when you buy that from another box truck?
We call that a welcome back fee.
Yes.
So if you buy it by from the Snap-off guy, he'll say, hey, welcome back. Thank you very much for buying an update. And, oh, by the way, you missed your 2018 update. You need to buy that one too. The Autel tools, we're not going to punish you if you miss a day, a week, a month, 2 years, whatever it may be. We're not going to punish you for that. Yeah. We will update your tool, backfill everything you've missed, turn your warranty right back on, and now you're up and running and ready to go. And
with, sorry, Daniel, let me ask him this real quick. Now, the update fees after that year has expired, they vary in price based on which model you have, correct? The 808 is what, 150, I think?
Yeah, the 808, the MX 808 is 125.
125, yeah.
And the MS 906 BT, you're looking at 695. So there's a little bit of difference, but there's a whole lot of power difference in that too.
Yeah.
So both tools are going to extend your warranty. Both tools are going to give you an extra 12 months on your update.
Yeah. All right, Daniel. Sorry.
No, I was good.
Oh,
you answered your question.
All right. You were reaching in like you had a question. Stepping on you.
Sorry about that.
All right. Well, Chad, I'm really grateful that you came on, just because I think this is going to clear the air for a lot of guys to really understand.
So I ended up calling Anson today, and they're going to give you guys a reason to buy today.
Oh.
And if you punch in PDRTT scan, they will give you free shipping and a secret goodie bag. I don't know what that is.
Wait, hold on.
She's going to put something together.
Okay, so type it in where? Do you have to call? Because I don't think Anson has any location for a promo code, because they never do promo codes.
Christina told me.
Okay,
they use that promo code. I don't know where to put it.
Dang. All right. Well, now
that's your job, Vince.
What's that?
That's your job. You figure that out.
You just made it happen.
Under the bus. Yes, this is me throwing you under the bus.
Okay. All right. Oh, there is a coupon code. Never mind. I never went that route. Okay.
Isn't it right in the shopping cart there?
Shame on you, Vince.
Well, here's the other great thing now with Anson is that they now do PayPal credit. So now for nominal charge, we're getting into some of these scanners and some of our other PDR tools like a power PDR box and stuff like that. They're getting into expensive things.
No, expensive.
What?
Expensive.
Okay. So they are now, they've worked out a deal with PayPal, and if you're on the trucks, they've worked out a deal with Square to be able to finance some of these larger ticket items.
Only $10 a week?
Something like that. No, it's not like that. It's not like the Snap-off truck.
Wow. Just like right in there, Daniel. That was a smooth work with your rod. I got to give you some credit there.
Only $10 a week for the rest of your life and your firstborn child.
Yeah.
So
put that in your shopping cart at Anson. PDRTT scan. Right in the coupon code. It's on the left side of the screen.
Yeah, so you'll get free shipping and a secret goodie bag, which it's Anson, so they're going to hook you up with something probably worth $50 to $100.
Goodie bags are the best. Come on.
Yeah.
Who's kidding me?
There's guys that don't even buy glue or tabs anymore because they just buy tools and get free stuff from Anson.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Well, Chad,
speaking of great glue, you can buy hog glue there too.
You can buy hog glue there and hog tabs.
Yep,
that's right.
And do they sell that really neat? What do you call it? A mat, is a rubber mat, and it has like magnets in it. What is that?
Comes in all the funny colors.
Yeah, it's actually made of silicone, and it's called the Magnatech mat.
Yeah, do they sell that?
They sure do.
Ooh.
They're probably one of the biggest distributors of that tool. And just for the record,
set that.
It comes now. I have black restocked in black, version 2 black. So if you guys, there are
you should have changed that name to like Sonic Black.
Sonic Black, okay,
or Midnight Black.
I'll work on that.
But if you set your Magnatech mat on the hood, that's a great place to set your scanner to keep it from moving around or scratching the hood.
Exactly.
Now the magnets won't mess up the scanner, right?
No, everything's solid state in all tablets. The only time magnets screw up anything with computers is if you're talking a hard drive that's not solid state that still spins around. That's when magnets are going to damage. That's why it won't damage your phone or your laptops and stuff like that. Everything's solid state now for memory. So we're totally getting off track here. And poor Chad, he's 3 hours ahead of us. We should probably let him go and go to bed. But we do want to thank you for coming on, Chad. It's been awesome talking to you. I'm hoping that we can have you on in the future again and carry on some of these conversations that will probably come up with questions as we PDR technicians get more involved with scanning and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd love to come back and hear the response that we get in the field. We're going to be at MTE Las Vegas, so we're going to have a guy there. So we're going to be able to answer any questions that come up. And this is something that you're going to start seeing more and more about and hearing more and more about. So if you're on the edge about getting a diagnostics tool, just jump in because it's going to happen whether you like it or not.
It is.
Are you going to be at the open house at Anson?
I am working on getting one of my guys there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, guys,
when's the open house?
It's the 26th, I believe, of April. Why you put me on the spot like that, you little bastard?
All right. Well, while Vince is double checking that number, while you guys you're going to listen to this. If you're on the fence, think of some questions and throw them up on our PDR Tool Time Facebook page.
Yeah.
And let's get some feedback and we'll get some questions together and get them to Chad and get those answers.
April 25th, open house at Anson, the Bonanza. It's the 4th annual one. It's the last one that's going to be at this location. Next year, it will be at the big, beautiful location. So come out and support that. I do have the IMI training on the 24th at Anson or somewhere in Dallas-Fort Worth. There might be a secret location to that. That's already up on the website already at ansonpdr.com if you want to get IMI certified for EV and hybrid cars. So there's that. And just some really good news. Another reason to come to the open house is there's a tiki bar that opened up down the street from Anson. Dude, yeah, we almost went to it last year.
I know. I found out when I was at the airport that it was down the street.
Yeah,
I was so mad. So this year, I'm going and I'm taking everybody.
Yeah, we'll crush that joint.
I'm going to go have a tiki drink at the tiki bar down the street from Anson.
So, Brad, any last words of wisdom for us here?
All right.
Oh, I called you Chad. Brad, I'm a Chad. What the hell?
No, that's why we all gave you that awkward silence for that
Joe Biden moment.
It's because I'm reading stuff on my screen. I'm like,
Joe Biden moment.
I was going to leave that one just hang.
Yeah.
Edit that one out. Oh wait, let's leave it in there so you look like a fool. That's okay.
Yeah. No.
No editing that because I'm going to have to put it in the notes.
No.
So,
Yeah. We're recording this for video too, so I can't edit that one.
sweet.
So, words of wisdom. Autel has a YouTube channel called Autel Tools.
Yes.
If you are trying to understand more about diagnostic tools, how they work, how they flow, jump onto the YouTube channel and watch some of the videos. There's a guy on there. He is really, really good looking. You should probably watch his videos a couple times to give him a thumbs up and like and subscribe.
Yes.
And see how the tools work. And just get your tool out and play with it. Plug it into something and see.
Whoa.
Chad is coming back on.
You don't know our audience, do you? You don't know our audience. You just wrote a blank check there.
I didn't say get it out and beat on it. I said
just play with it.
Use it.
Play with it.
Just yank it.
All right.
Yeah,
well, that's awesome.
We're pretty good at yanking on tools.
Can you read Vince's shirt right now? Keep it stiff.
Keep it stiff. Nice.
Keep it stiff. Yes. So, all right. Well, that brings us to another end of our episode. We want to thank you guys for listening. Go check out our website, pdrtooltime.com, for all the discount codes for all the tool manufacturers out there that we have going on at this time. And don't forget, if you're going to get a scan tool, go to ansonpdr.com for all your scanning needs. And don't forget the scanning code, which is PDRTTScan, where you will get your free goodie bag and also shipping refunded to you after you make the purchase. So remember, make the purchase, shipping will show up, and then they will refund it to you afterwards.
Guys, level up your scanners.
And don't do stupid stuff like not scanning.
And keep it stiff, which I can't even tell you that doesn't go with scanning at all. Thanks for listening.
Get your tool out and play with it.
There you go.
Visit AnsonPDR.com for the largest selection for just about all your PDR tools, where you'll find hog glue and hog tabs.
Mobile Tech RX, the app that helps you make more money.
Don't forget to grab your Magnatech mat, available at most PDR tool distributors. Thanks for listening.